closely. I think those of you who are pastors can learn something from a man who's on the ground experiencing what we're talking about. So Jeff, if you will, come on and share with us if you will take a moment or two.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, guys. Let me just say what you already know, what I'm going to share with you. All of it belongs to the Lord. I just happen to get in on what He's doing, and I appreciate what Doc is doing by way of encouraging us. What we're experiencing just northeast of Knoxville, Tennessee, I'm pastoring in Knox County, Knoxville, Tennessee. I believe Dr. DeYoung, back at Branson, when we started this journey 25 years ago, that's an exaggeration, but it feels like that. If you ever look at, we're grafted into an olive tree. You know, we're talking about being grafted in. In American Christianity, we tend to believe that's the cutting and forging together. But one of the things that I learned from the Temple Institute when we took our study trip with Dr. DeYoung is that's not what that text is talking about. It's not talking about an inseparable. It has to do with praying going on simultaneously. Praying in warfare to preach and to touch on prophecy. I promise you warfare is going to go to another level. Different things. As you preach, you pray in humility for the warfare. Because we're talking about Israel that got done with her. We had a backdoor revival. 150 people got up and walked out. Because they said I was heretical, I was not, God's not done with her. Allegorically, Calvinistically, which is a Southern Baptist, the Word of God from a perspective dispensationally, talking about Israel, that God's not done with her, allegorically, Calvinistically, which is a Southern Baptist, our churches are going to more and more. I cannot tell you the blogs, the mail, I cannot tell you the unbelievable warfare that broke out in my church because I took a stand that Israel, God's not done with her. So I simply share all that to say this with you. Don't back off of prophecy if the warfare goes up. The first 6 months I was there, we had a backdoor revival. 150 people got up and walked out because they said I was heretical. I was not preaching the Word of God. Now, I wasn't preaching it the way they'd been told, that they would have been taught, which is, don't ever touch the book of Revelation. Daniel is probably not necessarily even accurate. Daniel probably wrote that a little later. That's what they were told. So 150 got up and walked out. Now, as of yesterday, Sunday, in the last 3.5 years, 1,100 have joined. So over 3.5 years, 1,100 have joined. This year we baptized 257. In the last 3.5 years, we baptized a little over 600. We had $3 million worth of debt. We paid that off last year. We just recently purchased 84 acres by a miracle of God. It's a multi-million-dollar piece of property. God gave that to us debt-free, and we're preparing. We had our first, what we call first fruits offering Sunday, and it came in just under $3 million to get ready to develop the property. Now, that's all great stuff. We're debt-free. We're seeing people saved in a big way. Like I said, 1,100 additions in the last 3.5 years. But hear me. This is what's different in our day a little bit from perhaps Dr. DeYoung's experience with Dr. Lee and some of the glory days with Dr. Rogers, Dr. Criswell. There is a cultural war against us today that most young men, most pastors are not prepared to handle. And so when you step out as a layperson or as a lead pastor and you begin to aggressively, I have people I'm talking about people in our area that are perpetuating that if you could go online, I'd encourage you not to, and look me up, and they are they're writing articles that on that 84 acres where we're relocating because we're out of space. I pastor a church that's 150 years old. It started as Lick Skillet Baptist Church. That's straight up. Lick Skillet Baptist Church. You okay, Brother John?
I believe.
Okay. That upset you?
No, keep going.
Okay.
I got away from the microphone.
Okay. All millennial was coming out of it. I didn't know what it was. They are writing that I am leading the church, which is now called Fairview Baptist Church, to build the Millennial Temple on that 84 acres. And that's the hyperbole. That's how utterly ridiculous it gets. I have replaced a set of tires on my car, on my daughter's car. Our home has been vandalized. We recently had to put in a full security system in our home because of what's happening against my ministry in that area. Now I'm talking about I'm on the buckle of the Bible Belt. I'm not talking about I'm in L.A. with all the fruits and nuts. You understand what I'm saying? I'm on the buckle of the Bible Belt. But what's happened is when you start praying and preaching and prophecy, the church has so long not heard the Word of God that she can no longer recognize when she hears the Word of God. So it's been a wonderful thing. We've had a great time. We're planning on staying there, putting down deep roots to relocate the church. We're not taking her into debt. It's about a $15 million endeavor to actually relocate. If I don't have the peace of God to borrow the money, we're going to do it as we can pay for it because where I believe we are prophetic. I believe we are coming together under one banner economically, because we're going to have a personality that Doc's taught us about that's going to bring us under one banner ecumenically. And now, I don't think we'll see all of that because he's going to toot, we're going to scoot, right? Is that right? Well, but at the same time, I know that the economic shift is coming, so I'm leading my church wise as a serpent and gentle as a dove to be able to do aggressive evangelism and not get in debt for a big building. Now, I say this and I close. For you pastors, if there's anything I could say to you, or if you ever end up on a pastor search committee, you have got to do your homework. You need to call Brother Dave. You need to call Doc. You need to talk with someone about the pastor you're calling, or if you are bringing on staff. I interviewed 27 young men before I found a student pastor that was not Calvinist and or did not openly use alcohol. I interviewed one of the top names I was given. I'm talking about the mover shaker dude, the premier student pastor that was given to me. If you can get him, get him. On the phone interview, this is what he said to me. I asked him some questions. A Calvinist, am I online? Am I online? Yeah. Okay. Well, they got my name anyway, so it doesn't matter. They slit my tires and threatened my life. It doesn't matter. Bunch of sissies. So anyway, man up and sign the letters that you're sending, you bunch of cowards. So anyway, here's what you have. They will not be honest with you. They won't be honest with you. So the only way to smoke them out is to find out where they stand with Israel. And they're as confused as a termite in a wood yo-yo when you ask them. They don't even know what that means. And you have to ask them about alcohol. So when I was done, this is what this top-billed guy said to me. I have one question for you. If I come on your staff, can we have a beer together? Well, I'm a high school dropout, drug addict, drunkard. I'm a 5th-generation addict. I'm the first one in 5 generations to not be addicted. To which I said to him, do you have a beer with your pastor now? And he said, we have an open bar at our staff room. Listen, you have to ask. And if you're not praying, and you're not preaching, and you're not touching on prophecy, you probably don't have a lot of problems. Because the enemy isn't going to bother you. You're not a threat. But if you decide to take those 3 things, because here's the impetus behind it. I've had men say to me, you know, Laborde, you got to back off. If you just leave the prophecy alone, then some of this would abate. Well, then here's the issue. The issue is it's too late. It's too late. The day's spent. The night's coming. It's almost time to go home. Let me share a little something with you. Doc already knows this. I'm a student of two things, revival and prophecy. I love them. I wasn't raised in a Christian home. So when I got saved, there was this peripheral group of believers that operated in a way that I didn't understand. What was Smith? And somebody would say, there's 5,000 people in the room and you preach 3 minutes and you're going home. Why? Because they've already heard more than they're going to obey. And rather than preach judgment, walk in this. So revival is a passion. Well, you couple that with prophecy. Christine was about 84, the crippled one. No exaggeration. Sailors would not port their ships in the Hebrides. Late 1930s. Of God that to this day is still unprecedented. There was Peggy and Christine had a niece by the name of Mary Ann. Excited, pregnant,